All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to a Motivational Monday, Live Wire Sports Media, and I got a pretty good one for y'all. So, when it came down to the Fever off season and recruiting players for the Fever to build around Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexie Hall, and Aaliyah Boston, we thought, hey, the team was going to go younger. The team was going to be able to put the great pieces where this team could build on from the 2024 season, be a more a little bit running and everything. But enter Stephanie White, and we would say, well, we hope we don't bring Stephanie White, don't bring them the old guard to the Fever. Well, that did not happen. Enter DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner was somebody that we saw had a little skirmish in the playoffs with Caitlin Clark and everything like that. Now, a lot of people in the Fever organization say that Caitlin Clark signed off on it. She did this. I think that, to me, starting to think about this a little bit more is, to me, when I start to think about this a little bit more, it goes to where I feel like Caitlin Clark probably didn't sign off on half of these free agents. They kind of probably talked to her and say, oh, this is going to be better. It's going to help you a little bit. And she probably, all right, yeah, cool. Let's try it out. But nevertheless, it didn't work out. DeWanna Bonner she came as a veteran. You saw Kelsey Mitchell was excited to have her. You seen her, they treated her like they treated her like a veteran supposed to be treated. Brought her in, showered her, gave her interviews, took her to games. She getting a standing ovation. Season started, preseason started, everything looking good. Season started, everything was fine. We was like, well, what's going on with DeWanna Bonner? Why she ain't hitting shots? We know she can hit shots. She's struggling. She argued with the referees because she can't get that special whistle. And then she was struggling in the starting lineup. You know what I'm saying? Caitlin Clark goes down. Enters Eric McDonald. Eric McDonald gives her assist. She still couldn't believe it. Caitlin Clark even helped her accomplishment. And she still wasn't grateful for it. Then she dips out. Like Dipset, she was gone. So let's do a little history rundown on DeWanna Bonner before I get into Lexie Hall's comments. Because Lexie Hall is the type of person that really doesn't say anything too much, but she also kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to do whatever it is for the team. So let's look at this real quick. So, DeWanna Bonner, the timeline. DeWanna Bonner left the Indiana Fever after a disclosed scoring accomplishment and was later involved in an on-court incident with Lexie Hall, where she called Lexie Hall a bum. Following this, Sophie Cunningham spoke about Bonner's departure, calling it classless because they would lack communication with the teammates. Though she still wished Bonner was professional, Bonner left the Indiana Fever after 9 games for personal reasons, which that was BS because Stephanie White knew exactly what was going on with DeWanna Bonner. She was too vague in the press conference. She was too vague in interviews to where she didn't give details. But she did say, well, I have spoken to her, but at the same time, you ain't let your teams know. They all have to figure it out. They all looking crazy. You have to reshuffle the roster because guess what? DeWanna Bonner pretty much got mad because Lexie Hall took her spot. That's just pretty much of it. Lexie Hall took her spot. Lexie Hall was always the better player. Actually, Lexie Hall should have to fight for a starting position because she proved that last year going into the season, people. So Bonner left the Fever after 9 games for personal reasons. Then eventually was traded to the Phoenix Mercury, not traded back. But this is my thing. Why the Phoenix Mercury then just went after her in the offseason anyway and just cut somebody off that roster? Indiana could have picked him up and put him on the team, but they waited to she go over there to get money. You know what I'm saying? Get money. Then left, and then the Fever was stuck with a bad cap because they tried to find her. This is what Amber Cox said. They did try to find a trade partner for her, which is BS too. Because if you was really trying to find a trade partner for her, you would have actually automatically got somebody. And then the thing about it is you didn't even have to trade her. You could have had her sit on the bench all season long. But no, she's a vet. You didn't want to do her like that. Guess what? I'm glad I ain't the coach. I ain't glad I ain't the GM. Because guess what? She wouldn't have left. She would have rocked on that. She wouldn't even had a chance to play this season. She would have been on that bench. And I would have put her inactive. The Fever could have did so many things, but they choose not to. They took the latter, and it made them look bad. Yeah, the Fever had to find parts and play the season, and the team had to come together. The team came together. The coach didn't bring the team together. The team took upon themselves to come together and say, hey, we need to fight for each other. Nobody's leaving. So DeWanna departure left the Indiana Fever in June with 9 games due for personal reasons. She requested a trade, citing poor fit with the team play style. It was a poor fit. She was promised something and it didn't work out the way she wanted to, so she got mad. The team was unable to find a trade partner and successfully waived her in the off season. Now, before I even finish that, I'm gonna get to Lexie Hall right now because this is the most important part right here. Like I said, Lexie Hall does not bother anybody. She doesn't bother anybody. But this is really telling right here. This right here is very, very telling on how she feels about DeWanna Bonner. This is telling right here how she feels. So, all right. Lexie Hall speaks to, let me see. I hope y'all can see it pretty good. So it says, speaking to Hall about Bonner's decision to lead the Fever, it seems to me that there was still lingering hurt and confusion, and which Lexie Hall should feel that way. And then you get called a bum by DeWanna Bonner on the court. Now, this was the second game because the first time they played, we beat them. We had beat them while DeWanna Bonner being on their team. I think she was there or not. I can't recall. But then the second time, Sophie played against her, and Sophie had that good game against her. Then the second time Sophie didn't play, Lexie Hall played. And DeWanna Bonner was talking trash because she was having a decent game against the Fever, and she was taking shots as Lexie Hall, which that was so classist of DeWanna Bonner. Very classist. And she only was doing that because AT was over there. So anyway, speaking to Hall about Bonner's decision to lead the Fever, it seems to me that there was still lingering hurt and confusion. I was super, super excited because finally there's a player in my position that I can look up to that has won in this league and all of their accomplishments and knows what it takes to win, and I could learn something from her. Hall says of the two-time champion vet. And then when she randomly leaves, and we all just were kind of like, what happened? We were never given a explanation. And that to me, that shows very, very bad of a veteran. You don't get no explanation. You get in your feelings, and then you take your ball and bounce because you decided this wasn't a great fit for you. And yet with the team, with the team injuries, Hall said Bonner exit solidifies the group's resolve to have one another's back. To have no explanation was really challenging, but I think that helped us grow closer together because we were like, all right, this is us. We're here. We're going to support each other. We're going to love each other. We're going to fight for each other. We're going to we're not going to leave. We in this together. And that's the team had to take on that mentality because you got to think about it. Losing Caitlin Clark with 13 games in the season. Then DeWanna Bonner dipping with 9 games in the season. Then Sophie get hurt. Then Sid get hurt. Then Eric get hurt. There was so multiple challenges for this team. You know what I'm saying? And then your coach didn't really help many. You know what I'm saying? With bad lineups. That to me, and I think that Amber Cox and Kelly Crisscross should have did better replacing DeWanna Bonner. They could have found somebody overseas. There was too many different people that they could have brought in to take DeWanna Bonner's spot. Even though they brought in Chloe Bibby later down the line, Ariel Powers later on down the line, but still, you had enough time. So Hall continues. She said, I played through a lot. She was talking about her injury. She said, no, she was like right here. She said, it looks pretty darn bad when Hall crashed headfirst with Gabby Williams in one of the game after taking an elbow to the face during the matchup against and then in the face against the Minnesota Lynx. She meant to say Seattle. Well, she took an elbow to the face in the matchup against, but there was no option to take a beat or recover if you wanted to help the Fever clinch the playoff spot, even if that means adding a bloody lip to her collection a week later against the Chicago Sky with no foul call on a technical foul with a shot to the face. She was talking about how I have played through a lot worse than that. And so I don't think it would have taken the game. I don't think I would have taken the game off even if we had a fully healthy team. Hall says, I think I still wanted to be out there, put me out there. For the moment, Hall's face symbolizing. And then she just talked about, and she said, taking a hit after hit with no reprieve, starting with the legendary DeWanna Bonner abruptly near exit to start the season. In a quick succession, they lost Bonner, who followed by a slew of season injuries with Clark, then Sid, then Arian, then Cunningham, and so on until their roster was up to 16 players with all the emergency hardships throughout the adversity of the season. And so, with that being said, like I said before, Lexie Hall should have felt this. She should have felt that way. She should have felt the way. She has every right to feel that way because DeWanna Bonner stuck not only her. Caitlin Clark went out her way to help her get up on the scoring list, another milestone for her in her career. Caitlin Clark even talked about wanting to help her win another title. That's how Caitlin Clark was built. But DeWanna Bonner didn't get back to the Fever. She said, you know what? Hey, I could come off the bench, whatever you need me to do. She could have been a variable asset if she had just played her role and say, hey, I don't have it right now, But you didn't mind coming off the bench for Phoenix. You didn't mind coming off the bench for Phoenix. So you thought that the Indiana Fever, for whatever they promised you, you were supposed to get that over there. And I'm sure we have not even heard from Caitlin Clark talked about how she felt about DeWanna Bonner leaving. That have not been came to surface yet. And I'm really interested in what she has to say. But we already know Caitlin Clark is so media trained, she's going to give it the political correct answer every time. But you can probably tell by her facial expression and her eyes, she felt some type of way. And then Caitlin Clark let it be known in one of their games anyway, when DeWanna Bonner was arguing with the car, and Caitlin Clark said, go back over there. Go on back over there. You ain't one of those no more. Get on out of here. So Caitlin Clark pretty feels some type of way. And I think if Caitlin Clark had came back and we had to play them in the playoff, we had a spark fly. We would have had spark fly. But it just goes to show how DeWanna Bonner did this team, and it really affected this team. This team could have easily been broken. But them young ladies, them ladies over there pulled together. Even though some of the chemistry didn't match as well we wanted to be, but they did band together. Because you got to think about it. Lexie Hall, Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boss, and Caitlin Clark, they've been there since last year. They went through it. And they was not going to it. And they welcomed everybody that came in. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I said I felt like you should have had one maybe 2 veterans, and then just allow Caitlin Clark-Dillon to be the leaders of the team. But it didn't happen. So, but I'm glad Lexie Hall got it off her chest, how she felt, because Lexie Hall she's nice. She's not going to really just come out and go after you like that. She's going to play her game. She's going to take her licks, keep on ticking. And that's why I call her the heartbeat of this team, man. Lexie Hall is the heartbeat of this team. And to me, I feel like she was the most valuable player in the playoffs with this team. Regardless, there's other ways you can affect the game without scoring. And Lexie Hall has done that time and time again for this Fever team. And her appreciation and recognition should always be top-notch when you talk about the Indiana Fever, along in the breath with a Caitlin Clark, along in the breath with a Leah Boston, along in the breath with a Kelsey Mitchell. Lexie Hall name should be right up in there too. Because without a Lexie Hall on this team do not go where they go. Period. It doesn't. It doesn't. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This is your Motivation Monday. Lexie Hall set it off on DeWanna Bonner. She set it off. This is Live Wire Sports Media. It's The Wire on your Motivational Monday.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live Wire. It's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it. So official, like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire. Sports and entertainment. Let's go.